Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a crazy week in wrestling. You guys got a bunch of great questions. It's an Ask Wrestle Juice. Let's go ahead and ask some of these questions and get them out of the way. John Davey says, do you think the recent turmoil could actually be an informative experience for Tony Khan and be beneficial for him and AEW in the long run? Cheers. Yeah. There is no way in hell he doesn't learn something from this. Because to sit there at that press conference the way he did, just squirming and chugging that seltzer water, man, oh man, you know what he's thinking, this shit ain't going to happen again. I got to get control of this situation. Now, whether he will or not, I don't know, but he's going to learn something from this. Will it save AEW in the long run from becoming a circus act? I don't know, but he's going to learn something from it because fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you can't fool me again, right? He's sitting there at that press conference, just making all sorts of weird faces and shit, and CM Punk is just going off next to him. Oh, he's thinking this ain't going to happen again. I guarantee that. So I would hope that, yeah, it would be beneficial for AEW in the long run to have gone through what Tony Khan went through. Arnold Estrada is up next, as depending whenever the suspensions are lifted, would the Elite be welcomed back by the fans or even the locker room? Yeah, I mean, seemingly they're like friends with most of the people in the locker room because they brought most of those people in the locker room to the company. So yeah, I think the Elite will be welcomed back by the locker room. Absolutely. I mean, if all the reports are to be believed, CM Punk was kind of not really well liked by a lot of people in the locker room, which you would think just means the Elite are probably pretty well liked. I mean, there might be some, like it seems seemingly FTR was pretty close with CM Punk. I'm not sure how they might feel about all this. In fact, if WWE really makes a play at building up their tag division, not through things like Braun Strowman destroying the tag division, then FTR, I think it's very possible they go back to WWE. They seem to have a great relationship with Triple H back at NXT. So I could see maybe them being like, yeah, fuck these guys. They don't want to do the job to us for the AEW titles. So yeah, I don't know. I think the Elite will be welcome back. As far as fans are concerned, yeah, I think the fans will love the Elite. I think honestly that AEW crowd, whoever you put in front of them, they're gonna be like, yeah, woo, they're great. Kyle Norman says, given Punk's injury problems and erratic behavior, do you feel they should have kept Punk in a more of a part-time role like Edge rather than push him to the top of the card? Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I understand if you look at the timeline, he went like 8 or 9 months putting on those type of matches, the really hard physical matches that CM Punk is well known for putting on. This dude really does leave it all out there in the ring. And I've always appreciated that about CM Punk. And he went 8 or 9 months without much issue. And then as soon as he won the title, oh shit, now all of a sudden he's injury prone. So I think if he does come back, it precludes him from ever being in the title picture again. He'll probably be used in more of a part-time way, like an Edge, like a Brock Lesnar, whatever. I don't see him being back in the title picture, even if he were to come back after injury, which is 6 to 9 months. And at this point, given everything that's come out, I'd be kind of surprised if they kept him in the company, but I guess anything's possible. As far as should they have done that, I don't know. I mean, you know, hindsight's everything. And I don't think Tony Khan maybe imagined, okay, well, he went down with his foot injury. That's, you know, unfortunate. But then in his title defense or his match to get that title back from Mox, it wasn't exactly a 3-minute squash. It was a longer match, and he ended up injuring himself again. That right there tells you kind of everything you need to know. Probably don't want to roll the dice and put that title on him again. You're going to look like an idiot whenever he has to vacate it again and again and again. Curse of the Moon. I mean, that's just strictly the injury stuff. I don't know about the backstage drama or whatever, the erratic behavior. That's strictly on the injury stuff. Curse of the Moon says, how does the last few days affect CM Punk's legacy? He's a longtime favorite of the IWC, but now there's appeared to be significant backlash against him. Yeah, I would say a lot of people who were once CM Punk fans see him in a different light now. And it's unfortunate. And I think it has done damage to his legacy, if that even matters. I think he'll be remembered as much now for the pipe bomb as he will for the media scrum. That media scrum is being played everywhere, and you can't think of one without thinking of the other. So, yeah, I think it will do damage to his legacy for whatever that's worth. And I don't think it's really worth a hell of a lot. I think he'll still be able to make money, probably even in wrestling. I could see New Japan taking a chance on CM Punk when he's ready to wrestle again, if AEW does, in fact, get rid of him. If CM Punk is interested in wrestling in New Japan, I could see them possibly taking a chance on him. I don't think that he'd have the same amount of locker room issues in New Japan as he would in AEW. I think it'd be a bit more of a... I just think there's a lot more structure there in Japan. I think they'd probably not put up with this shit. And I think Tony Khan was probably relying on CM Punk to be sort of a locker room guy and maybe didn't realize the kind of ill will that he had already engendered with a bunch of people there. Let's see here. All Things Mario says, in the light of all the chaos going on right now, here's a simple question. What is your personal favorite wrestling match of all time and why? I don't know if I have one specific favorite wrestling match of all time. I think it's sort of, I don't know. It's kind of like asking what my favorite movie is of all time. I don't have a favorite movie. I've got like a list of 5. Some of my favorite matches include CM Punk versus John Cena, Money in the Bank 2011, the RVD versus John Cena at ECW's One Night Stand is up there in my favorite matches. Omega Okada 1 is up there in terms of my favorite matches. I'll be honest with you, like a bunch of the NXT UK matches made a really good case. Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne versus Walter. Like, I don't know. I've got a bunch. I've got a bunch on my list. Let's see here. Meliquai Perez says, in honor of your birthday earlier this week, Steve, what wrestlers would you want to join you and Larson on a weekend trip to Vegas for a birthday celebration? I'd like to go back to the late 80s and take the 4 Horsemen with us. Oh boy, that'd be wild. The Green Pianist says, in an AEW x WWE Supercard, what are your top 5 dream matches? Probably like Roman Reigns versus, not Kenny, Roman Reigns. I don't know. We've already seen that before. I don't know. It'd be the Usos versus the Young Bucks. It would be, at this point, you got to do the Shield triple threat. You got to get Moxley in there against Roman and Seth. I think that'd be, man, you could mine that for a lot. That could be a lot of fun. Probably like Jade Cargill versus Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch versus Britt Baker, Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens. I'd like to see that again. Brandon Montemayor says, is it weird that what made Punk huge in WWE was him calling out management and bringing backstage stuff to the foreground, where now when he does it in AEW, it's been his undoing? What's the line between tirade and pipe bomb? It's his role in the company. When you are the guy who is tasked with being essentially kind of like the Triple H of the company, because even back when CM Punk was railing against the company, it wasn't too far after Triple H was like still an active wrestler and still having that power behind the scenes to run things. But he still, at the end of the day, answered to Vince McMahon. If Vince McMahon wanted to put his foot down on anybody, he would. Tony Khan seemingly has not demonstrated that he's willing to put his foot down on anybody. You think he would now. At this point, this is probably as far as it's going to go with AEW. Before Tony Khan's like, no, I'm not gonna ever say anybody's a plus delta again. I'm not ever gonna say this person is the sole responsibility for my company succeeding. He's not gonna do any of that shit again. Maybe he should do it with Mox. Mox is great. Assemble says, now that the Elite and Punk are off TV for the foreseeable future, my point with the last question is it got to Punk's head, and he had time to sort of expose who he would be without being checked. Turns out he's kind of a dick. Assemble says, now that the Elite and Punk are off TV for the foreseeable future, what are 3 things AEW needs to up their game and improve the product? Feels like an opportunity to hit the reset. You saw a little bit of that with Dynamite. MJF's back. Whatever Tony Khan did to get him back was a smart move. Pay him money, extend him, whatever. It looks like they're hitting a bit of a reset on Wardlow, because Wardlow cut that promo where he said, everybody says my momentum has stopped. Well, enough of that. It felt like a reset on Wardlow. Yeah, I think there's a couple things they could do. Honestly, I would prefer them maybe look into unifying the women's titles, or at least like having Jade give up the TBS title to go after the AEW Women's Championship. the network titles really should be treated as mid-card titles. It sort of should be flipped. Like Toni Storm should be with the TBS title, and then Jade Cargill should have the AEW Women's Championship title because she just comes off like a bigger deal, and feature her on Dynamite. So there's a couple more things they could do. Let's see here. East Side Review says, do you think CM Punk possibly leaving could actually cause more damage to the locker room? And anger guys he appears to be close with, like FTR. I talked about that a little bit. I don't know that anybody would have looked at what he did at the media scrum and said, oh, this is exactly the kind of thing we need. I mean, if you think that shit's appropriate, then you probably shouldn't be in the company in the first place. Daniel King says, with Triple H being the chief content officer and based on the changes he's made recently, do you see any big changes being made to NXT? I hope so. Right now, NXT lacks any and all buzz necessary to make anybody give a damn. It still pulls in like 600,000 viewership and ratings. So I guess it hasn't fallen completely off the charts, but nobody cares about it. Nobody watches it. It's kind of dull. And I feel bad because I feel like Shawn Michaels is probably doing his damnedest over there because he's like the guy in charge. But, until they have I'd probably give it another year or so because they've got a lot of new pieces from UK, and I feel like they're going to start recruiting from the independent ranks, like people who are already really good wrestlers. They're going to start recruiting from those ranks sooner than later. And then once you get a year for those people to settle in, maybe we'll be back to where it was closer to 2017, 2018. It does need a visual rebrand. It looks like shit. Al Forsyth says, do you think that if the Elite leave, they'd even entertain a WWE deal? Yeah, I think they would. No, I think they would. If WWE would offer them a lot of money, and I think they would take it. I think with Triple H there, they would understand, okay, this guy would probably treat us as well as we could possibly hope to be treated. New Japan would be a step back. That being said, I don't know what the Elite's contract status is like, so who knows if that's even possible. And I don't think they're going to leave anyways. Or be fired. Leo Keller says, what are the odds of Punk going to WWE? On the other hand, CM Punk has zero chance of going to WWE. There ain't a chance in fucking hell Triple H is going to sign CM Punk to WWE. That ain't going to happen. That will never happen. He didn't like him in the first place. And now that dude is toxic as fuck. I just don't. Look, would it get a short-term ratings bump? Yeah, people would probably be okay seeing that. But what the fuck story are you going to tell with him? Oh, I ran it down. I burned it down in AEW. Now I'm here to burn it down in WWE too. Nobody would be on his side. Everybody likes what's going on in WWE right now. I think everybody just likes Triple H. Why would you risk that? No. CM Punk, he is not going back to WWE. That shit is not going to happen. That is not going to happen. RedTube says, do you think Punk shooting on Dynamite and derailing the media scrum would hurt his options if he chose to keep wrestling in the event he gets fired? I don't think it hurts his options totally. Like I said, I think he's got a shot at wrestling in New Japan. I don't think he'd ever wrestle in Impact, but I mean, I still think they'd probably be like, sure, fucking why not? We'll see what happens. But I think New Japan would probably take him, and I think if he wanted to keep on wrestling, if he wanted a big payday, they'd probably give him a big payday. I just don't know if that's something that they would want to do, but maybe, I don't know. The anime fans with Clash of the Castle giving Drew back Broken Dreams for that video package. Which wrestlers do you think would benefit having old theme back like Rude with Glorious? And who wouldn't benefit from this? Yeah, Bobby Roode's Glorious would totally benefit him. I'd love to see him come back and wrestle. I have not seen Bobby Roode in forever. Who would benefit from having their old theme song? Somebody here in the comments here mentioned Sheamus's. I love the Lobster Head theme. Eastside Reviews. I'm with you. Give me too many limes back for Sheamus. Those are Shayna Baszler. Her NXT theme was great. Sami Zayn's old theme. I think when he goes back to being a babyface, like a proper babyface, when he's kicked out, when he's jumped out of the bloodline. Let's see here. All right, I think that's gonna do it. Juan Orozco, I'll answer. There's a couple more here. Juan Orozco says, do you think Warner Discovery will cut AEW? No, their ratings are still fantastic, and that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. Colin Brunej says, what should AEW do with the House of Black? Have Brody take it over and lead it, and it'll be the House of King or something. This is a good one. Lance Gilmore. We'll end on this one. Who are the next 3 to 5 Intercontinental United States champions? Shit, man. I'd like to think that Pete Dunne could be the next Intercontinental champion. Maybe Butch turns on... no, wait. That's with Sheamus. Yeah. Butch turns on Sheamus, becomes Pete Dunne again, goes after Walter, the Intercontinental champion, and beats him. Next United States... And then after that, who fucking knows? I don't know. Solo Sikoa, Tyler Bate. Solo Sikoa would be the next Intercontinental champion. United States champion, who can beat Bobby? At this point, I want it to be Miz because I feel bad for Miz. He keeps on getting destroyed by Bobby Lashley. Ciampa would be a good name. I think you need somebody who's like a pseudo main eventer. Maybe after the draft, you can give it to Drew McIntyre because I don't think he's going to get those big titles anytime soon. Anyways, that's going to do it for Ask WrestleJuice. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate it. Going to have more new content coming up this week. Thanks for watching. Check out this video. Until then, goodbye. Or I'll see you over there. You're not supposed to say goodbye.